She laughed at the size of her ring. So I refunded the diamond, and she spent a year learning the value of what money can't buy. When I proposed to Claire, I thought it was the happiest day of my life. We'd been together for 3 years, college sweethearts turned working adults. She cried when I got down on one knee in the middle of our favorite park. The kind of tears that make you believe in forever. I spent 6 months saving for that ring. It wasn't the biggest diamond, but it was elegant, timeless, and more importantly, paid for with my own hard-earned money. I didn't go into debt for it. I didn't need to impress anyone except her. At least, that's what I thought. The first few weeks after the proposal were perfect. She'd show off the ring to friends, post pictures with captions like, "Can't believe I get to marry my best friend ring red heart." Then, something changed. It started subtly. Her comments about how her friends were getting massive engagement rings. She'd say things like, "Oh, did you see Jessica's? It's like 2 carats. So sparkly." I'd laugh it off. Good for Jessica. Her fiancé works in finance. I work in IT support. Different jobs, different paychecks. She'd smile, but it wasn't genuine. By the third week, she stopped wearing the ring when we went out. When I asked, she said she didn't want to lose it. But somehow, it was always on her finger when she hung out with her girlfriends. Then, one random Tuesday night, I got the text. "Claire, we need a bigger diamond. My friends are making fun of my ring. Claire, it's embarrassing. You know I love you, but this looks cheap next to theirs." I stared at my screen, reading it over and over. "We need." No, she wanted. I could feel the mix of disbelief and anger building. I had skipped nights out, taken extra freelance projects, and cut my own expenses to afford that ring. So I replied, "Me, say no more." That was it. No fight, no essay, no trying to defend myself. Just calm acceptance. The next morning, I went to the jeweler with the original receipt and paperwork. Luckily, the refund policy was still valid. I handed it over, explained the situation briefly, and the jeweler gave me a sympathetic look, one I'd come to appreciate later. "Full refund," she said, typing something into the system. "You're doing the right thing, sweetheart." When the transaction was complete, I walked out feeling lighter. That ring had been a symbol of love. Now, it was a reminder of what love shouldn't cost. I didn't text Claire, didn't call, just blocked her number and social media. I guess she didn't expect that, because about 2 days later, I started getting screenshots from mutual friends. Apparently, she'd sent a message to her group chat, the same one where she'd bragged about being engaged, the same one where she'd compared rings. This time, the message said, "Claire, does anyone know why my ring finger feels so light?" Unamused face. One of her friends, bless her honesty, replied, "Friend 1, maybe because your fiancé returned your ring?" And then someone else added a photo. A photo of the jeweler's Instagram story. Apparently, the shop had posted a picture of the exact same ring, captioned, "Available again, gemstone. Sometimes the right person just hasn't worn it yet." The comments section blew up. People pieced it together fast. Claire's engagement post was still up on her page. Her ring was instantly recognizable. She went quiet on social media for a few days after that. Meanwhile, I was enjoying my unexpected windfall, a few $1,000s back in my account and zero emotional debt. When mutual friends reached out asking what happened, I kept it simple. She wanted something bigger. I decided I did too, just not a ring. The irony? A week later, I went on a date with a woman I met at a bookstore. She noticed the faint tan line on my ring finger and joked, "Engaged recently?" I smiled. Almost. But I dodged a very expensive lesson. She laughed, genuinely, not mockingly. And that sound alone was worth more than any diamond that it had been about 3 weeks since I'd returned the ring. 3 peaceful, beautiful weeks. No drama. No endless texts. No passive-aggressive, "we need to talk" messages. Just silence. I'd moved on faster than I thought I would. Turns out, when someone disrespects you deeply enough, grief gives way to clarity pretty quick. But, of course, peace doesn't last when someone like Claire realizes they've lost control. The first crack appeared when a mutual friend, Megan, called me. "Hey," she started cautiously. "I think you should know Claire's been telling people you freaked out and broke off the engagement because you couldn't handle her social circle." I actually laughed. Her social circle? You mean the same people who told her her ring looked like a high school promise ring? Yeah, I'll survive without their approval. Megan snorted. Good. Because she's been melting down. She told everyone you ghosted her. But when someone pointed out your number doesn't work because she's blocked, she kinda lost it. Apparently, Claire had been trying to spin the breakup story online. But people already knew the truth, thanks to the jeweler's post. Her group chat, once full of girl boss energy and luxury aspirations, had turned into a roast pit. Screenshots leaked everywhere. One message thread even got shared anonymously on a gossip subreddit. Friend 1. Honestly, if my fiancé gave me that ring, I'd be grateful. Friend 2. Girl, you literally complained about his salary on your story last month. Friend 3. She really said, we need a bigger diamond, like she was ordering Uber Eats Scald. She became a meme. Literally. Someone edited a picture of the ring with the caption, she wanted a bigger diamond. He got a bigger refund. That one went viral. I saw it accidentally while scrolling Reddit one night and had to set my phone down because I was laughing so hard. Karma had a sense of humor, and it wasn't subtle. 2 weeks later, I got an unexpected email. It was from Claire. Subject, please just hear me out. I almost deleted it without reading. But curiosity won. Her message was long, emotional, rambling, defensive. The usual cocktail of self-justification. She wrote about how she'd been under a lot of pressure, how her friends made her feel small, how she never meant to hurt me. She ended it with, maybe we rushed into things. I just wanted to fit in with my circle. I realize now what I lost, and I miss what we had. Please talk to me. For a moment, I almost felt bad. Almost. Then I remembered the text. We need a bigger diamond. My friends are making fun of my ring. That wasn't pressure. That was pride. So I didn't reply. Instead, I posted something on my Instagram story. Nothing petty, nothing direct. Just a photo of a sunset over the city skyline, with a caption that said, peace is priceless. Within minutes, I saw her name pop up in the views. The next day, I got a message from a mutual acquaintance. Apparently, Claire had been showing up at my old apartment, asking neighbors if I'd moved. Yeah, I had. I'd upgraded, not just apartments, but everything. See, the jeweler had introduced me to someone. Her name was Leah. She handled marketing for the store. We talked a few times while I was getting the refund processed. She'd been kind, funny, effortlessly grounded. One day, she asked me if I wanted to grab coffee. That coffee turned into dinner. Dinner turned into something real. Something easy. No games. No social circle pressure. Just two people who laughed more than they judged. A few weeks into dating Leah, she found out who my ex was. Oh my God, she said, covering her mouth. You're the refund guy? I blinked. Wait, what? She pulled up a meme account on Instagram. There it was, the photo of the ring, the caption about the refund, the comments full of people cheering for me. Leah started laughing so hard, she nearly spilled her drink. That's legendary. I can't believe I'm dating that guy. For the first time in months, I didn't feel embarrassed about what happened. I felt proud, not because of the internet fame, but because I'd finally handled something with quiet strength instead of anger. Meanwhile, Claire wasn't handling things well. Word spread that her new boyfriend, one of the guys from her circle, had broken up with her after the drama went viral. He didn't want to be associated with Ring Girl. She tried to bounce back, new selfies, new captions, inspirational quotes about self-love and healing. But everyone could tell she was spiraling. I didn't laugh. Not anymore. Because somewhere deep down, I realized she wasn't evil. Just shallow, insecure, and too caught up in appearances to appreciate something genuine. The difference between us was simple. I wanted love. She wanted validation. And the two were never the same. Months later, I ran into her at a coffee shop. She looked surprised, then embarrassed. Oh, she stammered, hey, you look good. Thanks, I said. So do you? She hesitated. I heard about your new girlfriend. She works at that jewelry place, right? I smiled. Yeah, she does. There was a pause. She looked at her cup, then back at me. I'm happy for you, she said quietly. Really? For the first time, I believed her. Maybe because she finally sounded honest. I nodded. Thanks, Claire. I'm happy for me too. When I left, I didn't look back. As I stepped outside, the sunlight hit just right, like one of those cinematic moments where the music swells and everything feels aligned. I pulled out my phone, texted Leah that I was on my way to meet her, and smiled to myself. The ring was gone. The relationship was over. The lesson? Permanent. Sometimes the refund is the upgrade. Update 1.it had been almost 6 months since the breakup went viral. since the refund became a meme and I accidentally became the internet's symbol of self-respect. My life looked completely different now. Leah and I were still together. What started as an unexpected friendship had turned into something deep, the kind of relationship that didn't need proving. We'd recently moved into a small but beautiful apartment downtown. It wasn't flashy, but it felt like peace. She laughed at my dumb jokes. She made Sunday mornings feel sacred. And sometimes, when I caught her looking at me with that quiet admiration, I'd think, this is what I'd been missing all along. Then one evening, while we were cooking dinner, my phone buzzed. An unknown number. The message preview read, "It's me. Please don't delete this." I didn't need to guess who me was. Leah noticed the pause. "Who is it?" she asked. I smiled softly. "Someone from a past life." She didn't push. She just nodded, kissed my shoulder, and went back to chopping vegetables. That's one of the things I loved about her. She didn't need to control everything. I opened the message. "Hey, I know I have no right to message you, but I wanted to say congratulations. I saw your post about Leah. She seems wonderful. I mean that. I'm not proud of who I was back then. I let people influence me. I thought I needed to look successful, and I confused validation with love. You didn't deserve that. You never did. I just hope, someday, you'll remember the good parts of us." I still do. I stared at the message for a while. It wasn't what I expected. No manipulation, no fake apology. Just regret. I didn't reply right away. I didn't even know how to reply. Later that night, after Leah fell asleep beside me, I sat by the window and thought about everything. The dinners, the laughter, the arguments, the diamond, the refund, the silence that followed. Claire had been my first real attempt at forever, and she failed, but so did I, in some ways. I'd ignored red flags because I thought love could fix everything. It couldn't. I finally typed a response. "Hi, Claire. I appreciate the message. I do remember the good parts, and I'm not angry anymore. But I think we both know we were never meant to last. You wanted a life that sparkled, and I wanted someone who saw value in the things that don't. I genuinely wish you peace." Then I hit send. No dramatics. No final jab. Just closure. Minutes later, she replied with a single heart emoji. And that was it. No more messages. No more ghostly, seen at notifications. It was strange how small the moment felt. After all that chaos, the breakup, the meme storm, the internet fame, it ended with two sentences and a quiet goodnight. A few weeks later, Leah and I were invited to a gala hosted by one of her clients. It was black tie, elegant, the kind of event where everyone pretends to sip champagne while silently comparing outfits. As we walked in, I froze. Across the room, Claire. Of course. She was standing with a group of people, laughing politely, looking every bit as beautiful as she used to. For a split second, I felt that old ache, nostalgia, curiosity, maybe even a trace of sympathy. Then she noticed me. Her eyes widened, and for the briefest moment, time seemed to stop. I didn't hide. I didn't look away. I just smiled politely, the kind of smile you give a stranger you once knew. Leah squeezed my hand. "You okay?" "Perfect," I said, and I meant it. Later, as we left, I caught one last glimpse of Claire standing near the bar. She wasn't surrounded by friends anymore. Just her, a half-empty glass, and the kind of expression you wear when you realize you were the architect of your own loneliness. Life had moved on, mine faster than hers. The refund had become a funny story to tell friends, but to me, it symbolized something bigger. It wasn't about the money. It was about the power of walking away when someone treats you like you're disposable. A ring could be replaced. Peace couldn't. That night, Leah and I walked home under the city lights. I looked at her, really looked, and thought how wild it was that losing something shiny had led me to something real. When we got home, she laughed at something stupid I said and looked at me with that soft, genuine smile that had nothing to do with jewelry or image. And that's when I realized I didn't just refund a ring. I refunded a life I'd outgrown. Final update that it's funny how fast life moves when you finally stop chasing what was never meant for you. A full year passed since that gala, since the quiet, polite smile that finally buried the last remnants of my past. Leah and I were still together, stronger than ever. Life wasn't perfect, it was real, and that was so much better. She'd just gotten promoted at her firm, and I'd launched my own design studio. What used to be a risky idea had turned into something that kept us both busy, fulfilled, and weirdly grateful for every chaotic turn that had brought us here. Then, One chilly Sunday morning, as I was sipping coffee by the window, an envelope slipped through the mail slot. No return address. My name handwritten across the front in looping cursive. I knew that handwriting. Inside was a single letter and, taped neatly to the bottom, the diamond ring, the one I'd refunded a year ago. Except this wasn't the same one. This was hers. The one she'd bought later for herself. A smaller version that she'd been photographed wearing in an attempt to reclaim her independence. I sat down and unfolded the letter. Hey, I wasn't sure if I should send this. Maybe I shouldn't. But I saw the news last night. Your proposal to Leah. It popped up everywhere. You looked happy. Actually happy. And it hit me how little I ever really knew what that word meant. I used to think happiness was something you could buy. The right diamond, the right restaurant, the right crowd. I was so obsessed with being seen that I stopped seeing. When you left, I told everyone you were cold. That you humiliated me. That you proved what I always feared. That people only stay when you shine. But the truth is, you didn't humiliate me. I did that myself. I've spent the last year trying to figure out who I am without validation. It's been messy, lonely, but I've learned. I don't expect forgiveness. I just wanted you to know I see it now. The kindness I mistook for weakness, the patience I treated like a flaw. You were the first person who ever loved me without needing to be seen doing it. I hope you and Leah have the life I was too blind to build with you. Consider this my real refund. I don't need it anymore. Claire. I stared at the page for a long time. My first instinct wasn't anger or satisfaction. It was peace. Because for the first time since that wild, humiliating dinner, since the diamond fiasco, the memes, the headlines, she wasn't trying to justify or manipulate. She was just human. Leah came into the room, still half asleep, hair messy, wearing one of my old shirts. "Who's that from?" she asked softly, noticing the letter. I smiled faintly. "A ghost," I said. She raised an eyebrow, the kind that finally stopped haunting. She came closer, read the letter over my shoulder, and stayed quiet for a long while. Then she picked up the ring, turned it in her hand, and set it on the counter. "You going to keep it?" she asked. I shook my head. "No, I think it's already served its purpose." Later that day, I drove out to a small hill overlooking the bay, a place I used to go to clear my head back when everything fell apart. The wind was sharp, the air clean, the sky that soft gray before rain. I took the ring out, looked at it one last time, and tossed it into the sea. It made the smallest sound as it hit the water, almost like a sigh. And just like that, it was done. No bitterness, no triumph, just release. That night, Leah and I sat on the balcony eating takeout and talking about wedding plans. Nothing extravagant, just close friends, family, and a little cabin by the coast. At one point, she looked at me and said, "You know, I've never met someone so calm about letting go of the past." I smiled. That's because I held on for too long once. I learned the hard way. Peace costs more than any ring. She laughed softly and rested her head on my shoulder. The city glowed below us, and for the first time in years, I felt like I was exactly where I was supposed to be. The irony wasn't lost on me. The man who once refunded a diamond now held something infinitely rarer: contentment. Claire had chased sparkle and lost substance. I'd lost sparkle and found soul. In the end, both of us got what we were looking for, just not in the way we imagined. And maybe that's what life really is, not about perfect endings, but about growing into someone who no longer needs the illusion of one. Epilogue. A few months later, Leah and I married quietly, just as we planned, barefoot on the sand, a handful of people, no diamonds bigger than truth itself. Someone once said, "You can't build forever on temporary people." They were right. Because forever doesn't come from the biggest ring or the flashiest proposal. It comes from someone who never makes you feel like you have to prove your worth to shine.